Hey ladies, I want to help you out here. I want to talk about when you have a baby, when you have a man, a husband, a boyfriend, whoever it is, the father of your child, and you guys get pregnant and you go to the hospital to have the baby. Things seem so magical, and they are magical. In those moments, they are totally magical, and you're just flooded with all these emotions, and he's being so good to you, and he's making eye contact with you, and he's like helping you through the birth. And when the baby comes out, tears are coming out of his eyes, and you look at him and you're like, this is the thing that's going to change him. This moment right here, becoming a father, having a baby with me, is going to change all of the things about him that I feel are wrong. He's going to grow and develop and mature, and now he's going to be a dad, and I don't really have to worry about any of the things from the past, because now this is a life-changing moment. And I can tell because he's crying, and things are so magical and so beautiful, and we feel so bonded, and we made this baby together and we brought it into this world. Yes, ladies, those are magical moments. But I'm here to burst your bubble just a little bit. And I'm not here to talk horribly about men. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just here to bring a little bit of reality to the situation, because I do not want you to be dumbfounded and caught off guard and sadly disappointed when you have those beautiful, magical moments with your man and the baby is born, and you go home from the hospital and he's like a completely different guy now. You've never seen him so tender and warm and loving and responsible and caring. And then weeks go on, and maybe a couple of months, and it's like everything you ever dreamed of is finally happening for you. And you're so happy you guys had this baby together. It's just a whole new world and a whole new life and a whole new relationship. Here's the reality check, ladies. Almost all the time, if the man had issues during your pregnancy and before your pregnancy, if he had problems with drugs or drinking or being a narcissist or cheating, whatever the problems were, he had problems with providing. Just because you guys had a baby and had those magical moments during the childbirth, going home from the hospital and decorating the nursery together and all the wonderful things that couples do when they had a baby, just because you experienced those moments and you saw tears come out of his eyes, does not mean he is healed from his drug addictions, his weed addictions, his drinking, his addiction to sex, his addiction to pornography, his addiction to spending too much money, his laziness when it comes to providing for you. It doesn't cancel out all of those things permanently. For a little while it will, because he will feel all those emotions when you're having the baby. He will look at you in a new way, with this newfound respect for you that maybe he never had before. He will experience those emotions, and he will cry tears of joy. He will be different with you and with the baby for a while. Yes, he's not lying when he feels those feelings. He's just having normal human emotions. And in those moments, he also feels that he is going to be a changed man forever. He's not necessarily lying or putting on a show or faking it. He is experiencing those feelings right along with you. But having those moments with you and the baby are not enough to break addictions and seriously bad habits and seriously bad beliefs and systems he's been using his entire life. He needs help and treatment and therapy and God and books and so many other things to overcome all of these demons that are inside of him. Having a baby is not enough. And I know in those moments when the baby comes, it looks like he's going to magically be different forever and ever. That may happen, a very small percentage of the cases out there, but there are so many more women in this world that have the opposite story. So please, be careful who you have babies with. Be careful who you even have sex with, even if your intention is not to become pregnant. Be careful who you marry. Be careful with so many things. You want to get together and procreate with a man that is already working on himself. His therapy can't be becoming a father for the first time. That's not therapy for the problems. That's not psychological help for the problems. That's not a program to help him become a better version of himself. That's having a baby. And yes, it is a wonderful thing. And in many ways, it does change men. It changes women too, of course. But it's not enough to break addictions and old patterns. He needs outside help. And do not fall into that trap where you think, oh, well, once we have a baby, he'll be different. That is almost never, ever the case. And you also have to remember that when a woman has a child, it affects her far differently than when a man has a child. The baby grows inside of the woman's body. It's a very different experience for her. The way it hits your heart and your psychology hits in a much deeper, harder, more impactful way. Yes, of course, men feel deeply when they have children. Of course they do. But it will never be the experience you have because the baby does not grow inside of them. They're not capable of having the same experience as you have. And that's not to say that men don't have feelings and they don't love their kids. Of course they do. But they do not have the ability to feel what you feel when you bring a child into this world. You have to remember that men are not like you. They may feel something very, very special the day the baby is born, and they will hold the baby and they will cry, and they may even ask you to marry them in those moments because this is what they're feeling in those moments. But it's not enough to sustain the behavioral changes. They need more than that. For you, because you're a woman, it's likely very different. There are lots of women in this world with bad habits and problems that when they have a child, that's the last time they pick up a drink. That's the last time they pick up a cigarette. That's the last time they pick up a drug. I'm not saying for all women out there, but for lots and lots and lots of them, because it's different for women because the child grows in their womb. It's very typical that a woman who is doing addictive things stops as soon as she finds out she is pregnant because she literally has another life she needs to take care of inside of her womb. So it's different for her. So don't be mad at men that they're not like you. Just understand that they are different than you. And like I was saying earlier, please be careful who you procreate with. If it's a person you don't think is ready to be a father or to be a husband, then simply do not have sex with him. Don't have sex with them until they're ready to be fathers. And I know, there's birth control and all this kind of stuff. I don't really recommend that kind of stuff. I have my own personal beliefs about hormonal birth control and even barrier birth control. Once you're married, I think that's probably okay to do if you just want to space out your children. But if you're just using birth control to help men not have to face the consequences of having sex, you're kind of giving them a free pass to have sex without having to grow up all the way. Because if you think about it, if he was providing and protecting and doing all of the manly things that men are here to do, then why would you need birth control? You could just rely on him to take care of the family if and when you do get pregnant. It's like birth control is more, it's a touchy subject. I don't exactly believe in it, and the hormonal kind is really bad for your system. I don't think there's a good enough reason to sacrifice your health and your well-being and your future fertility to create a situation where a man gets to have sex with you as much as he wants and doesn't have to man up and be a father. There's just something about that that doesn't seem natural. It doesn't sit right. If a man is having sex, he should be 100% willing and able to be a father. Remember, a lot of times birth control does not work. And also think about it from this perspective, right? If your boyfriend is having sex with you and you're taking all these pills and all this hormonal stuff that could possibly make you very sick, that could hurt you, harm you, kill you. You know, there are lots of girls and women who die from blood clots and aneurysms and, you know, all kinds of medical problems due to being on birth control. If he knows that there's all these side effects and he is allowing you to take birth control and risk your life so he can have some inconsequential fun sex, I would personally wonder how much this man actually loves me. I would say, wow, it seems like he cares more about having some fun with my vagina than he cares about my long-term health. And I would question a man like that. I would really have to think, how much does he love me? It seems like he cares more about the sex than he cares about my health. And I wouldn't want to spend the rest of my life with somebody like that. And many times, men just need to be educated about all of the side effects of birth control. Sometimes they really don't know that it could kill you. Most men don't walk around studying these things. But if they love you and they're planning to have a real life with you, then I would think that would be one of the major things they would be thinking about, is to look after your health before they look after their own sexual needs. And then on top of that, their own sexual needs where they also don't want to have to become fathers. To me personally, I think it's not a great idea. This video has taken on a life of its own and it's almost changed topics, but you guys know how I roll. Just think deeply about who you're gonna have sex with. Think deeply about what your expectations are when you have your child with this man. Don't get too far off into the clouds, into fantasy land, that if we have a baby or when we have a baby, all his problems are going to disappear. That's almost never the case. Try to start off with a man that doesn't have all these problems. And if he does have these problems, tell him about all the different programs, okay? It's 2023. We all have the internet. We all have phones. These men are using their phones for social media, for porn, for all kinds of stuff. There's no reason they can't use their phones to get help, to look for therapy, to look for groups, to look for programs. They have websites and apps, and they have everything that will support men in their recovery. There's no excuse. In 2023, there is literally no excuse that a man is not on his healing journey, that he is not taking advantage of all of the help that is out there, and so much of it is free, absolutely free. All they have to do is take out their phone and look at the videos, call the phone numbers, log on to the Zoom calls. There's so many meetings all around the clock in every part of the world where they're helping people with problems and addictions. There's so much help out there. And if you're with a man who's not out there seeking help, you probably shouldn't be with him. There's nothing wrong with being with a man that needs help. There's nothing wrong with being with a man that has problems. Everybody has problems. Everybody in this world has childhood trauma. Everybody in this world has wounds, of course. But we're all adults now, and we need to address the issues we have to live our best lives possible, especially if we're going to be in relationships, and especially if we're going to be having sex, because sex leads to babies. Parents that don't heal themselves, who are not actively working on themselves, are going to have children that are going to have problems. We accidentally wound and hurt our children when we are trying to raise them while we are still messed up. And we all know this because that's what our parents freaking did. All of our parents did the same thing. But it just so happens that our parents were experiencing life at an earlier time than we were. They didn't have all of the resources and all of the help that we have today. I am giving a little bit of a free pass to all of our parents. The internet has not been around for all that long. All the people who were growing up and developing and going into young adulthood, then they didn't have what we had. They basically just had to figure out things inside of their own minds all by themselves. That's usually not very productive. Most people can't think their way out of their own traumas. Most people can't think their way out of their own addictions. Most people can't think their way out of all of the things that life throws at you. People need help. And our parents and our grandparents didn't have what we have today. We have the internet. There's so much for us. There's so much help. There's no excuse. You need to help yourself, and whatever man you're going to be having sex with and possibly procreating with, he needs to be helping himself, especially if you're the type of woman that's on a level up journey. If you're on your level up journey, you can't even be a match to a man that is not on his own level up journey. He's just going to hold you down and bring you backwards. If you're leveling up, it only makes sense for you to be with a man that matches you, who's also leveling up. So I hope you appreciate this video today. I know some of the things I say are offensive to some people, and that's okay, because we all don't see everything the same exact way based on what we've experienced in life. You know, triggers are good. Triggers are good. I get triggered all the time by people. Many of the times I get over the triggers because, within the next couple of days after the trigger happens, my brain really starts working on the subject, and I start to see it from other points of view and other perspectives, and that is growth. We're here to be triggered so we can become our best selves possible. We can't just stay the same and never be disturbed by anything in life. That is not reality. That is silly to even think that a life like that exists somewhere in this world. It doesn't. Life is a mix of positive and negative feelings, and all of the negative things that trigger us, or seemingly negative things that trigger us, are actually there to help us grow. We get the most satisfaction in life while we're growing. Don't ever forget that. I wish you all the very best, and be careful who you have sex with. If you like my videos, like, subscribe, join the Sugar Lady Academy, all that fun stuff. I just want you guys to live your sweetest life possible. Talk to you later. Bye for now.